Welcome to SVG TV News on Monday, August 19th, 2019. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. Hundreds of Vincentians came out today to pay their final respect to one of this country's longest-serving politicians, Sir Vincent Ian Beach, who was laid to rest today following a funeral service at the Kingston Methodist Church. Sir Vincent died on Monday, August 5th, 2019, after a period of illness. The former Member of Parliament for the North Central Windward and South Windward constituencies was given all the requisite honors of a state funeral. Shortly before 9 a.m., the casket carrying Sir Vincent's body entered the House of Assembly, where it lay in state up until about 1:30 p.m. for officials and members of the general public to view the body and sign the Book of Condolences. One of Sir Vincent's closest friends, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, was among the first at the House of Assembly today. Upon exiting the building, PM Gonsalves told SVG TV News that he will greatly miss Sir Vincent.
He was my very good friend and comrade, very special to me. And the whole country would miss him. I would miss him extraordinarily. He has a very distinguished, outstanding record of service. He's the third longest serving parliamentarian since universal adult suffrage in 1951, after Sir James and Ebenezer Joshua, 26 years. A lot of people don't realize how long he served there. He held high offices of state, several different portfolios, from agriculture to the public service and national security. Leader of the opposition twice, 2 terms. He was also acting prime minister on more than one occasion between 2001 and 2005. A long list of accomplishments.
PM Gonsalves said Sir Vincent is irreplaceable, noting that he served SVG with merit in several capacities over the years.
Every day for years upon years, we met at 7:30. We did so many things together. In fact, during my time as Prime Minister between 2001 and 2015, I would say we had a co-prime ministership in St. Vincent and Grenadines, Ralph and Vincent. That's how close we were.
Anybody's going to fill that gap now? Any that can come close to?
Irreplaceable. Absolutely irreplaceable. Given all his skills and talents. But he has taught us many, many things. And collectively, we will fill the void.
The Prime Minister said he will ensure that Sir Vincent's legacy lives on for generations to come.
He is a tremendous parliamentarian, an amazing campaigner. But all this came from an inquiring mind and a love for people. He's gone, but he has left a tremendous legacy. I loved him very much, and I promise him that I will ensure that his legacy and memory are properly protected and enhanced. And I'm sure that a grateful people would want a suitable memorial to be established for him in recognition of his extraordinary service on their behalf. A great man has passed.
Other members of Parliament from both sides were also on hand at the House of Assembly to pay their last respect to Sir Vincent. Our news team caught up with several of the MPs who acknowledged that it is a sad day for St. Vincent and the Grenadines as they pay tribute to Sir Vincent and express condolences to his family.
Came, held my hand and brought me into politics. I resisted, but he came again and he brought me in. And secondly, I don't know if it was as a result of that, but I've heard it echoed by persons from across the nation, that he was the go-to man where all constituencies is concerned. If you need anyone to come in and provide motivation to your constituents, whether they're young, the mature, or the old, go to Sir Vincent. And he never said no.
When the party managed for the first time to gain the popular vote in this country. So I think that what he has done as an elected parliamentarian and as a minister of government shows that he loved this country very much. And we see a lot of raw emotion inside as he lies in state here, and that suggests to me that he's still very connected with the body politic in this country.
So Vince is my political senior by a long shot. One who clearly has contributed much to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Like us, all politicians in office, you would have done many good. Very often people want to highlight the blotch in their life, and certainly he would have made his own sets of mistakes, as I am, and many others would have. But certainly what he has done for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, by a long shot, surpasses any errors he may have made. This is an occasion which you should remember the good and the value that is brought to us in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and absolutely sure that his constituencies are better for his service. And so today we reflect on his life, his service, his value, and his contribution to our nation state.
I think it's a very sad day for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I am convinced that Sir Vincent has served this country well during his time in public life, and I think the whole nation ought to be in sympathies with his family and recognize his passing as a milestone as we go through this phase in our history.
And from time to time I'll call him when I have issues, when there are matters arising in the ministry for great advice, and this I'll definitely miss. Sir Vincent was a very loving man, very kind-hearted. On the political platform, he was a live wire, and I am going to miss him. The constituency of South Central Windward, we are going to miss him, because during the campaign trail, he paid a particular interest not only in South Windward but also in South Central Windward, and he was working along with the chairman, Mr. Denniston Douglas, on many occasions to make things happen. Definitely he has contributed significantly to my life as a counselor and as a mentor, and we are going to miss him.
In peace, he's had a long innings, he has had a long life, and his family no doubt have every reason to be gratified and fulfilled with his contribution.
A number of persons from the general public also turned up at the House of Assembly today to pay their respect to Sir Vincent, whom they describe as a people person who will be dearly missed.
Good man, very, very good man in life, truly.
Mr. Beach, I was a nice man to me. I miss him a lot. My name is Tiny Small, and he always greet me, and I always take him as a father. I love him, and God take him. I hope his soul make peace with Almighty God, and I pray for him and his wife and his family and his children.
Important, serve the country well, so in that respect.
And he was a very nice man, and all the time of knowing him, he all the time have a smile, and all the time say, "Carmelita, you all right?" And I will say yes, and he will go his way. So may the good Lord bless and keep him.
Well, I pay tribute to the family. Generally, me and the Honorable Beach, we were good friends. He would always shout me and ask me about my old man. He said, "Oh, boobs." That's what he used to call my old man. And we would talk about things in general. He was an approachable guy, people's people, people friendly. And he always looked for the poor. He tried to keep them, and tried to get them incentives to encourage, be ambitious. That's the kind of man he was.
Sir Vincent Ian Beach was a straightforward man whose dedication to SVG is undeniable. That's how Sir Vincent's son, Glenn Beach, described him during this afternoon's funeral service at the Methodist Church. Beach said, much like other politicians, his father made tremendous sacrifices to serve SVG, and this should not be forgotten.
I want to let St. Vincent and the Grenadines know, you actually got the best of my father. His dedication to this country was undeniable. He and I only became close when I would say around the age of 20. Because as much as it's an honor to represent people from different constituencies representing St. Vincent and the Grenadines, it is a sacrifice that politicians make, and sometimes we don't see it that way. But more than the sacrifice that politicians make, their families make a bigger sacrifice. Whether it's Lady Vida or Lady Mom, or Mrs. Gonsalves, Mrs. Friday, no matter which aisle you're on, it's a huge sacrifice.
Beach said he was able to spend some precious time with his father before his passing. He said while Sir Vincent believed he would have been an excellent Prime Minister, he also believed that passing up the leadership position to current Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves was the best decision he made. Beach also shared a fond memory of his father's early political life.
But make no mistake that arguably his best political move was handing over the leadership to the Honorable Prime Minister. And he said his accomplishments and his thought process and the things that the Honorable PM has done, especially in the first 2 terms, it's undeniable in terms of what he was able to bring to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And funny enough, I had told Dad, I said, when you used to run against PM in North Central Wynwood, one of the things PM used to say, in the battle, was that Dad was too soft. And funny enough, in my opinion, what made them such a great team was that PM is the soft one, and Dad was very straightforward. Julian would always say, PM, Ralph Gonsalves is his Prime Minister, but Vincent Beach is his political leader.
May his soul rest in peace. In other news, the Venezuelan student Navy vessel, the Simon Bolivar, is currently docked at Port Kingstown. It arrived here on Saturday, August 17, to a grand welcoming ceremony, which included a military parade. Larissa Pugsley Kidd tells us more in this report.
Just after 9 a.m. on Saturday, August 17th, the Simon Bolivar vessel docked at the cruise ship berth in capital Kingstown with 193 students in the Venezuelan military on board. They were also greeted by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves and a guard of honor. Speaking at the official welcoming ceremony, PM Gonsalves noted the 3 decades of relations between SVG and Venezuela, which he said will continue for a very long time.
Our position is a position grounded in love and civilized values.
Nuestra posición.
We respect highly
Nosotros respetamos muchísimo
all our friends.
Todos nuestros amigos.
But we have to be faithful to international law and civilized values. On top of all what I have said, I welcome, on behalf of the government and people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, this crew and the vessel.
Venezuela's Ambassador Francisco Perez stated the importance of having the vessel in SVG's water for a second time.
It is great effort that this crew, students and instructors to make this journey by what is called Caribbean 2019. It is also great effort that the people and the government of Venezuela, es también un gran esfuerzo del gobierno de Venezuela, are making, but above all, a great sacrifice.
Captain of the vessel, Captain Alexander Rivera, said they are delighted to be here in SVG and look forward to the 5-day visit.
Of this great vessel to Safe Harbor.
Esta es la segunda oportunidad que visitamos San Vicente y la Granadina.
This is the second time we are visiting St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Following the welcoming ceremony, Prime Minister Gonzalez and others were given a tour of the vessel. While on board the vessel, he interacted with the students and encouraged them to be good ambassadors of Venezuela. There was also exchange of gifts on board the vessel. Members of the public can tour the vessel between 9 to 12 and then from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. daily. The vessel leaves on Wednesday. Reporting for SVG TV News, Larissa Pugsley-Kidd.
The month of August marks the anniversary of the emancipation of enslaved Africans, the abolition of the slave trade, and the birth of one of the foremost campaigner for black civil rights, pride and dignity, Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Marcus Garvey was a brave Jamaican political activist, publisher, journalist, entrepreneur, and orator. He was the founder and first President General of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League, through which he declared himself Provisional President of Africa. Garvey was born on August 17, 1887 and died on the 10th of June, 1940. In a discussion on the Viewpoint program on SVG TV on Sunday, the panelists spoke about Garvey's contribution to the development of persons of African descent. The panelists all agree that Garvey's mission and work helped to impart a better mindset among persons of African descent.
He pushed the envelope so far, right, that it allowed for a lot of other people now to fill in. Another thing that cannot be overlooked is his influence on, even indirect and unbeknownst to himself, but what became the Rastafari movement. This has to be one of the major legacy.
Okay. And the changes into the 60s and the 70s in the U.S. and the change that happened for black people, I think you can all trace that back to Garvey and what happened in Africa also. I think we should not underestimate the impact there, and I think there was a certain pride, call it black pride, even with the Panthers. Let's call it Black what Panthers. It is. Yes.
Because that's what it is.
Just about everything started with Garvey.
Yeah.
All of it is that you come up to the Black Power movement, yes. everything. The Pan-Africanism is something which we should not forget.
Yes.
Kenyatta and Nkrumah, they were strong supporters of Garvey. They talked about the influence which Garvey had on them.
The panelists said that though one of Garvey's mission was to get persons of African descent to take control of their destiny, this is yet to be seen in a number of areas.
On independence, you were supposed to be going a path. We could take control of ourselves. But that has not been happening. And I keep saying that anytime we have an anniversary, we have the 40th anniversary of independence, one of the things we need to do is to reflect on that road that we started at independence, which is another phase of reflect and see where we are going. But we don't do that.
Never.
In fact, we celebrate about how many things, how good things are. So there is no reflection, and if there's no reflection, then there's no mission.
I think it's important because you talk about independence, and I don't think the Caribbean, anyone is really independent, because I think we've grown our debt. We've grown our economic dependence on other nations. Maybe not England, maybe not France, but other nations. So what have we achieved in terms of the influence? I do call it, neocolonialism. Right? And it's happening all over the Caribbean, and we cannot bow our heads in the sand and pretend it's not happening.
Every black person should see themselves as a unit that is part of a whole. And to understand that concept, once you know yourself, then you will naturally figure out your self-interest. And we're still there. We're still into the understanding that we are a black people worldwide. We might have different countries. That don't prevent you from anything. But you have to understand who is self.
We headed SVG's 54-member strong delegation at CariFesta 14 in Trinidad over the weekend made quite an impact at the region's premier arts and cultural festival. Several artists entertainers who are part of the Vincentian delegation gave a stunning performance on Saturday, August 17th at the Queen's Park Savannah, where they were given the opportunity to showcase an artistic production reflective of SVG's culture and heritage. Here is a snippet of the performance.
Just give me a sunset, one day best friend, nothing can compare to it. Love brings me to life, and it makes me feel alive. I'm not telling you no lie, I could drink all the and drink tonight. Oh me, I drink higher rum, I drink higher rum, I drink higher rum. Somebody call me. I drink higher rum. I wanna see a chocolate right now. We're happy in the air, right now I'm in the fire.
In some police news now, we heard that the police here are investigating the circumstances surrounding the shooting deaths of Sylvanus Nanton, a 41-year-old laborer of a diamond, and Negam Sam, a 32-year-old shopkeeper of Paul's Avenue, which occurred on Friday, August 16th. The police say about 5:45 a.m. on Friday, Nanton was discovered unresponsive with gunshot wounds about his body in motor vehicle PK 927 at Diamond in the vicinity of Yankee Supermarket. A male suspect is currently in police custody, assisting with the investigations. Later the same day, at about 7:45 p.m. at Paul's Avenue, Sam, who was reportedly at a liquor and provision shop in the company of some other persons, was approached by unknown person who shot him and fled the scene. Sam was pronounced dead on the scene by a medical examiner. The police are seeking information from the general public that will aid with the arrest and prosecution of the offender or offenders. Persons are asked to contact the Assistant Commissioner in charge of crime at telephone number 1784-4561-339 or the officer in charge of the Criminal Investigations Department at telephone number 1784-4561-810 or the Major Crime Unit at 128445-71211 extension 220 or any police officer that they are comfortable with. All information they say will be treated with strict confidence. The death of Nanton and Sam marked the 9th and 10th homicide recorded in SVG for 2019. The police are also investigating a report of arson made by a resident of Kingston Park against some unknown person or persons. The police say the assailant or assailants allegedly, without lawful excuse, destroyed by fire a 12 feet by 15 feet wooden and wall dwelling house and its content value unknown. The incident occurred at 6 p.m. on Monday, August 5th. The police are seeking information that will aid with the arrest and prosecution of the offenders. Persons are asked to contact the Assistant Commissioner in charge of crime at telephone number 1784-4561-339 or the officer in charge of the Criminal Investigations Department at 1784-45-61810 or any police station or officer that they are comfortable with. All information, again, they say, will be treated with strict confidence. The first of two conferences on the state of child sexual abuse in SVG will be held tomorrow. The conference, to be hosted by the Psychology Department at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, will target teachers and counselors of several schools across the country. A media release from the department said there has been an alarming increase in the number of sexual offenses committed against children in the country, particularly between the ages of 3 to 12 years. The organizers are hoping that the conference will shed light on some techniques to spot children at risk and possible interventions that can be made, especially by mandated reporters such as teachers. The topics to be discussed at tomorrow's conference would include signs of sexual abuse, the Child Protection Act, the role of the police in reporting sexual crimes, response and intervention. Tomorrow's conference will take place at the Curriculum Unit Conference Room beginning at 9 in the morning.